auditorium. And then Cheryl's was going to close it out. I think so.
All right. Hopefully we have. That's good. There we are.
Can you wait for me to get to my seat?
Yep, sure.
I'll hurry.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Cheryl, did you get the basket with the paper? Thank you. Just give everyone one now you can. Yeah.
I don't remember anybody's name. My brain's a lot better than I can remember faces. So I know you for a long time. Isn't true.
Cheryl is passing out some of the flash paper for you. So each one should be getting a piece of flash paper.
And you need a pencil to write on that, so if anybody needs a pencil.
Also a pencil.
She's got pencils.
We will simply be patient and enjoy the process of receiving papers. Does everyone have a piece of flash paper and a pencil? Anybody needing? Ruth? What? And Phyllis?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't. Thanks. Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Thank you.
We hope nobody here is afraid of fire.
It'll be a quick fire today.
This
why
is a
they
quick
call it
flash.
Flash paper. All right, let's begin. Welcome to Woodland Chapel, Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Moore Horton, your senior minister, and you probably all know that already anyhow. But I'm here to welcome you. I'm here to bring you into the heart and the spirit of this center, because this center is a center of love, a center of faith, a center of joy. And you know, there's a certain wonderment that comes every year with the beginning of a new year. And so we begin to start again, to rededicate ourselves to life and to love and to joy and to being in community. Is there anyone here for the first time? I don't see anyone. Okay. Then there are a few announcements that we would like to review today, and they are on the back of your program if you'd care to look at them. Next week, Reverend Don Kerr's message will be Universal Voice. And we can take down the Christmas tree after we get finished celebrating downstairs, maybe 12:30 or whatever. We will have our silent auction today. You may notice when you go up, the library is filled with items of interest. A food drive continues, and our clothing household items are starting to grow. So we can watch for other new events as they come along. Now, today we would like to recognize those who have birthdays in January. Is anyone here who has a birthday in January? Hey, look at it. 1, 2, 3. All right, 4. Let's see, 4 people. All right, wonderful, wonderful. So we're going to sing a happy birthday song pretty soon. But first, I'd like to just say something about one of our about our longest serving member of this chapel, Gail Preem. Today is her 96th birthday. Today, right now, the 1st of January.
Right.
Give her a hand. You're welcome. Gail is a member of one of our founding families and the only one who's still with us today.
No.
We're clearly grateful for Gail's continued membership in our center. She's been a member of Woodland Chapel, I think, almost from the day it opened. She has served in many capacities over the years. I remember Women of Woodland Chapel, her being our treasurer. I think you were on the board one time? Yes. And she still volunteers every Sunday to count our collection and make up our bank deposits. So we have a lot to be grateful for. And we're celebrating Gail's birthday by having a card that you can sign. That card is, I think, right now out on the table. If not, it'll be downstairs afterwards. You can sign that card. There's a cake for our refreshments after service today. And so we just join Gail with Gail and all others who celebrate this month as their birthday. And let's see if we can sing Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday, right? Yeah. Okay, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear, bless you. Happy birthday to you. Reverend Moore.
Yeah.
You know, Pat has been with us for a long time too. Patricia, she's here right here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something you want to say about her? She's here for the first time.
Well, we haven't seen Patricia here for a number of days, weeks, maybe months. And we just honor Patricia as also a longstanding member of our congregation. When did you join us? Do you remember, Patricia? Approximately?
When did I?
Join the chapel? First time?
I think probably 57.
57. Whoa.
Whoa.
I can't remember.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful.
Long time ago.
We also want to be aware of something of a little more somber nature, and that is we have a card here to sign today also for Donna Stevens, whose husband Dennis made his transition this last Sunday. And we offer her and her family our support and love and open our hearts to Donna and let her know that anything we can do, we will do. Any words we can say, any prayers we can give, any support we can show is given freely, lovingly, and with a joyful heart.
Yes.
Thank you for being here this morning, Donna.
Yes.
Are there any other announcements that need to be made at this time? Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the purpose of today's burning bowl. The burning bowl ceremony goes back quite a ways and is practiced in different ways in different churches and different communities. I think the key concept is leaving behind something we do not wish to carry forward into the year 2023. Now, Reverend Julie's told me it's not about releasing habits and memories and thoughts so much. It's much more profound, and we're going to see what that is. We will be asked, I think, to let go of any belief in our own unworthiness. Then, I believe we can step into a deeper recognition of the divine potential that lies within each one of us. At this time, we would like to have a prayer with Cheryl Guest. Come forward, please, and lead us in our invocation.
Good morning and Happy New Year. So as we just kind of allow ourselves just to relax into that space that's within, that beautiful spiritual place that is the essence of who we are manifest of this Spirit, and we have all of the attributes of God within us. And I know that as this year unfolds, everything is beauty and joy and love, that we expect only the good. We let go of anything that is not what we perceive to be the good of humanity. And we know that peace is possible, and this could be the year, but we're going to say this is the year when peace erupts, when it just flows, overflowing into all the nations and all the world, to where we recognize that there is only one Spirit, there's only one God, there is no argument, there is nothing that is less than or more than what the essence of Spirit is, because it is all. And I know that this is the best year ever, that it unfolds in this chapel as we grow and we continue to be a powerful presence in the universe. And I am just so full of gratitude for all of the things that have unfolded this year and everything that will unfold this year. And I know that God is always, always in the plan. No matter how it appears, it is always Spirit in action. And so I just release my word with so much joy and love in my heart, knowing that this year is full of all kinds of possibilities and abundance, and I just let go and let God. So please join me now in saying, and so it is.
Yes, indeed. Very nice.
And now I'll read the affirmation. Please join me. I move into this new year with gratitude and a sense of freedom. Freedom to know the truth. I attract into my life all the wonders of love, joy, beauty, and kindness. And so it is.
Our practitioner Ruth tonight will be reading for us.
I'm going to sleep over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I annoyed you. If I can get up on the step. There we go. Live the life of your ideal person. This is the reading for today. From Raymond Charles Barker's book, The Power of Decision, we learn this. Creation is continuous. We exist in a continuum of creative process. He was a wordy man. And from Ernest Holmes, Your Spiritual Power, in actual practice, we must claim our divine company, that the business of life is good, active, happy, and whole. The writer of the meditations for this month is Reverend Dr. Marilyn Louise Leo, and this is what she has to say about this day. Today is new. Another year begins. Opportunities stand in front of us, waiting to be seen. Creation wants to be acknowledged and used. How are we going to use this opportunity? Of course, this is not the only time to make new creations or different decisions, for we can do that at any moment of our life. But why not make it this moment, the moment for change? It is time for choice. Ask yourself, am I experiencing optimum health? Make a declaration to eat healthy and get plenty of sleep. Exercise. Imagine all of your organs functioning perfectly, blood circulating unimpeded. and all areas of your body and its functions working together in harmony. Ask yourself, is there enough love expressing in my life? Are friends and relatives feeling my acceptance, kindness, and love toward them? Is the reverse true for you? Do you feel others' acceptance, kindness, and love? Let's learn to express our love more widely, not only with words, but also with actions. When we experience love from within, we will be prosperous, healthy in mind and body, and have our perfect employment or activities and friends. We will revel in an abundance of wonder all around us. We will enjoy the beauty that surrounds us, a child's giggle, a bird's song, and even airplanes flying overhead. We will be content and at peace. And the affirmation for today, through the Spirit of the Divine Presence, there is a continuous creative flow of good in my life. And so it is. Can I follow your lap, or do I have to go on the floor?
Oh, my program says that Reverend Don is going to lead us in a song. What would that song be, Reverend Don?
This little light of mine.
All right, I understand.
And-
Shannon and I are going to go down.
Yeah.
Look at that. Dance to this thing a little.
Follow the dancers, everyone. Follow the dancers. And in your program, gotta have the words. This little light of mine.
All right. They're a little bit different. Yep. And we got them all printed out so we can do that. Okay.
Okay. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
And I'm gonna let it
Shine. Let it shine, let it shine, shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. Shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel? No. I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it around a bushel? No. I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel? No. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, what's the next one?
Don't let anyone blow it out.
Don't let anyone blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let anyone blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let anyone blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let anyone blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine all the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. My gosh.
Oh, thank you guys. I bet we didn't know that it had that many verses, did we?
I got lost in the verses.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you. So, okay. A new year. Where did the last one go? Yeah. Anyone just remember it? So, yeah, welcome. Welcome everyone who's here. Welcome everyone who's home in their jammies watching us. And we're just glad we have a chance to get together and bring in the new year together. So today marks the completion of a holy season. Now, I know in Christian tradition it goes till January 6th, when supposedly the wise men had brought the gifts. But for us in New Thought, we typically end and begin on the first Sunday in January. And so we have what we call a burning bowl ceremony, which most of you participated in, haven't you? And if not, don't worry, get instructions. Typically we would, like Morris said, come together and meditate and think about those blocks within us that we want to let go of, or something within us that we want to let go of. And a little bit like a New Year's resolution, except that we're letting go and then we're promising to do something that probably lasts till February, right? Yeah. But that's okay, 6 weeks, that's a try. But this year we're in a different focus. And the purpose of this year's service is not to release something that we consider a flaw or that we don't want about ourselves, something about ourselves that we don't approve of. And my guess is if we're really deeply honest about it, there's something within us that we don't approve of. Is that correct? Yeah. It's not like, well, I'd like to let that go, but there's just a way I am sometimes that I don't approve of. But rather than any self-criticism or disapproval, that's what I want to focus on letting go of. And it's our soul's place. We will be practicing this year as we set this up in community, a way to nourish our spirit and our soul. And one of my favorite books that I go back to periodically is Thomas More's Care of the Soul. Have any of you read that book? Yeah, and it's so beautiful and wonderful, and I really love it. And typical of me, I often really intellectually get it, and I love it so much, and then I just think, I really want to embrace this, and then I don't, because I'm just too mental. So this year I really determined that I was going to take this Care of the Soul and use it as my yearly practice. So I'm inviting you into that same practice with me. And I'm making a whole year of it. So I invite you to do this. And it's not as easy maybe as it sounds. It depends on how we have been treating ourselves. And so I want to explore two aspects of this caring of the soul. Isn't that beautiful? Even just saying this, care of the soul. I love even just saying that word. So first, we're body, mind, spirit. We're all aspects within this wholeness of ourselves. In a spiritual community, I think we often focus on the aspect of spirit, don't we? We treat about our body, but we really focus as a community on spirit and our relationship with the divine, which is important. We focus on manifesting the things in our life, the stuff that we want, the health that we want, and all of that. And that's wonderful and good and absolutely needed to do. But I'm proposing on focusing on caring of our soul. Now, see, if we're here, I believe that we're meant to be here. Would you agree with that statement, that we are not here by accident? I know there are those that maybe think we are, but I don't believe that. I believe that we're here on purpose. And so how do we care for this gift of life? Just how do we care for this? And how do we care for both the human and the divine within ourselves? And so in Care of the Soul, Thomas More speaks of it not about curing ourselves of anything, but caring. And to me, it's more like nourishment. And I also just love that word, nourishment. So it's not about fixing anything, but giving ourselves delights. And whether we're buying a flower to take home or we're buying a house. Whatever it is that is nourishing our soul, bringing us joy, bringing us delight. And both of those things, of course, are nourishing to our soul. And carefully tending to and being sensitive to the aspects of daily living. And I know for me, like I make a lot of lists. I'm a list person for a lot of reasons. And then it's about checking off the list. Did I get that done? Did I get that done? I don't know about you guys, but that tends to take me out of my daily living and paying attention because I'm just focusing on next. What am I going to get done here? What am I going to get done? And I really, so you guys, you've probably figured this out. I really need this, but when we speak up here, it's usually about what we need, and hopefully somewhere in there, it's about what you guys need too. So yeah, I really need this. I'm acknowledging that. So I have spent literally years of my life coming to a definition of soul. And I have come to understand, and it's something I almost can't define. It's like an experience that I know, but a soul is what I've come to see is it's the essence of our humanity, of who we are as a human, and it's also the essence of what we are as divine. And I think you'll have to just come to your own definition of that, because it really is kind of an experience and it's a relationship. And how do we do that? Moore's definition is, which is very pertinent for today's message and ritual. Soul is a quality or dimension of experiencing life as us. It has to do with depth, value, relatedness, heart, person, substance. Aren't those just awesome words? So, those of you who hear me talk sometimes know that Paula and I have a daughter who lives in Connecticut. And so a few visits back, we went, and she has this lovely kitchen and these long windows in the kitchen. And I noticed that in a window above her sink and all that, she has, and in the bathrooms too, she has these little vases and jars, and they're tiny, that she collected, the different places. And in each one of them was a flower. And I think she gets these long-lasting ones like carnations, and there's a few others that last a long time. And they were in these little jars, and it just was so delightful to me. It was so beautiful, and it just made something special about that. So I determined I was going to do that when I got home. And I did. I will say that I did end up with a few dead plants on my windowsill. But I am working on it, and this year is going to be different, and I'm going to report to you guys back. So on that one. No, I wasn't entirely successful, let me say. But it inspired me because I just so was delighted by that. And I went to see my doctor, who, my kids say I have a groovy doctor, which kind of dates us a little bit. But so she was telling me that she, on the weekends, she goes home, and even when she's not working, and she gets up in the morning, and she gets dressed, and she puts on her makeup, and she uses perfume, which she can't do when she's working. And I thought, wow, that is so delightful. That is so much care. And it just inspired me. So that's kind of what we're talking about today. Those are simple, aren't they? They're little daily delights, but both of those really spoke to me. And so we're doing Christmas like this weekend because the airlines were canceled and things on Christmas. So we have kind of upside down Christmas this year. And we don't really give gifts anymore because we don't have any tiny children. But my husband said to me, he said, I'd like to get you something. He said, how about we get you a new manure cart? No, and I'm kidding. Seriously, mine is broke. It's because to haul the manure out of the barn, And the cart is broken. And I said, well, all I need is a cart because we've got the tub. Well, he's been doing it for a while this last week, and I guess the tub is broken too. So he said, well, no, you need a tub too. And I thought, oh, that is really cool because I've been using this wheelbarrow and it works. But I loved my manure cart. So he said, would you like a manure cart for Christmas? And I'm like, yeah, that would be cool. And then I started doing this talk. And I said to myself, let me think about this. I'm going to get a manure cart anyway. I really want some perfume. I didn't say that to him yet because I was saying it to myself because I'm doing this talk. And there's this perfume that I used to wear in college when I spent more money on myself. But I've really been looking at it like online, and it's super expensive. And so it actually might cost more than the manure cart. And so I decided if I'm going to care for my soul, I'm going to get the perfume. Because I have not been getting it the whole year as I've been looking at the bottle and thinking, ooh, that is so expensive. And so I told Paul, I said, and he handled it well. I said, I think I'm just going to get some perfume and we'll, and we're not the manure cart. Well, we will probably end up with that too because you need a manure cart eventually. Doesn't everyone? So it was something that I could gift my soul to really do this. And I did. I got the perfume. So, and it was like a big step. And that doesn't sound like maybe a big step to everyone. But when you get like thrifty and careful and all of that, sometimes that takes away from even caring for the soul. And I don't mean spending a lot of money because there's many ways to care for the soul. And so what I would like to encourage each one of us to do is perhaps not give up something this New Year's, but to do something, to think of something that would delight your soul as this New Year resolution, perhaps, a resolve to care for your soul. And the second point I want us to ponder here in caring for our soul is that it's not about fixing, you guys. It's not about fixing anything that is broken. So we talk a great deal about transformation, and I get it. I get that. And it's a perfectly valid process if done right and if done correctly and with purpose. Transformation is wonderful. But not, though, with the idea that there is something in us that is wrong or lacking or needs repair or needs to be discarded. You know what I mean? So while we take on discard this while we take on a new, brighter self. And when you guys were thinking of burning bull, how many of you immediately thought about getting rid of something? Yeah. Isn't that what comes to us? Seriously. Come today, okay, I'm very excited because I'm going to release something I don't like. It just comes to us, doesn't it, naturally? So it's anyway, it's not about pieces of me that can be renewed. It's not about that. Because if I reject something, now get this, that part of you that you thought today, I don't know if you had something in mind, maybe you did, probably did, or you could probably come up with a bunch of stuff. But just get this. If I reject it, or all of those things, and we're not about rejecting or fixing, if I reject it, how can I make it new within myself? Because I'm cutting it off. And I'm going to get to why that's important not to do that. Jack Kornfield, who you hear me quote from frequently, a Buddhist teacher, he says there's an art to learning how to live with life's challenges and hardships. And those are the things we would really like to let go of, wouldn't we? And so he says to discover light amid the darkness and to heal ourselves and the world around us. Like any other art, the art of living in peace, it calls for both love and discipline. We must be willing not to turn away from, not to shun the shadows in our life, but turn toward them. Isn't that an interesting concept? So, and I would ask us, what today do we want to turn away from? In turning, we begin to cast away our fears, despairs, and self-doubt. It is not darkness that is our opponent, he says, but our rejection and denial of it. It is our greatest difficulties. It is in our greatest difficulties that we can find the sense of what is the everlasting light in the world, the unquenchable light. It is within our difficulties. And I know in New Thought we do focus on the positive, and that's good. But see, even in saying these words, did any of you think that is not positive? That we're focusing on the darkness? So that is not what we teach in New Thought? No, don't we teach about healing and making whole and having the joy and delight? Isn't that what Ernest Holmes said? That we all are born to be happy. Well, maybe not happy, to have joy. We can't be happy every minute of our life, but to have joy. And to say this, you might be thinking, oh, this is not New Thought. But isn't it? Because going into a deeper experience and not rejecting, we are really bringing forth that. We are really allowing ourselves to bring forth that. He says, by paying attention to see the aspects of self from a different vantage point, it most likely is speaking something deeper, and it just might hold the clue, the key to unlocking the gate to some perfect insight, some holy direction. So if we turn away from what our soul is offering us in the moment, we might actually be rejecting. So we treat and we know for wholeness and happiness and joy and peace and love in our life, for harmony and all those qualities of all those qualities that we call divine, but exist in us. Because the divine is in us, and we say that all the time, and if it's in us, all those qualities are in us, and to release them. And so this might be speaking to us in the very words we need to hear. In the very words we need to hear. I was talking to someone very, very close to me last week, and they had made a presentation. Very successful individuals, and they have a company that goes out and helps other companies become successful or solve their problems. And so this individual had done a report for this company in Los Angeles, this group of lawyers, and really had done this thorough report. And then when he went to meet with them, he realized none of them had read the report. And so what he said to me, so he called me up and we were talking about it, and he said he really blew it because he lost his temper with him. It's like, you guys didn't even read this, and I'm on whatever else he did. And so he realized he's not going to get that account. And they have the report and they can do what they want with it. But what was really bothering him was what he did and how badly he looked and how he had lost his cool. Because and he just was having so much trouble letting that go. Himself. Have you ever done that? Just like you did something and then it's not even about the situation. It's about, why did I do that? Oh my God, why did I mess up like that? And so we were talking, and said, well, there's a variety of ways we can look at this. Number one, they're having a lot of trouble. They're all lawyers. You sure you want to get messed up with that? I said, maybe this is the divine speaking to you. And also, here's the thing. You got to learn that you don't do that, which he never does. This was really unusual. So we're looking at all the lessons. It took him a long time to see any lesson, but to get, I get that. But I actually think, from my perspective, there is something to know there. Because if we do something, there is something to know, isn't there? And so we treat for all these wonderful things, but Spirit sometimes shows us what we need to know. And to not turn our back on that, to not get too deep in the weeds about, oh God, how awful I am. But what perhaps is the blessing there? And I could really see it for him, and I think he probably will see that aspect for himself too. Like, okay, I really can't do that anymore, and I really got to look at what made me do that. He said it was all ego, like they hadn't read my report, and it was just a big ego thing going on. And I'll leave it at that. So, anyway, Thomas More says, observance of the soul can be deceptively simple. You take back what has been disowned. You work with what is rather than what you wish was there. Isn't that interesting? Because, and it's just a flip perspective from what often we have. We work with what is, because what is what is. And what actually is simple and makes sense. It's the one effective trick in caring for the soul is to look with special attention and openness at what we reject, and then to speak favorably for that rejected element. It might have the very message we need. So this morning for us, what I'd like to do is not about giving up something, but caring. And you each have a piece of paper, and you have a small piece. So you just need to write a word or a couple words. And pencils work on those. To look at that parts of ourselves or a current event or reaction or whatever it was that was displeasing, and see if we can find acceptance for that and stress it. Now, because therein lies the message. And I'm not saying you have to do that. That's just a hint if you can't think of something. What do we disown about ourselves? Am I not good enough? Am I, a lot of these messages we get as a kid, and it's just like really weird how long that sticks with us. Like, I'm that 9-year-old in school that the teacher told I never, I stopped talking. Fooled her. I got a job that I talk all the time. But anyway, those messages sometimes from grade school even stick with us. So to let go of any of the self-judgment part, because then what we focus on, what we hold in our consciousness, how many of us in this room really have self-judgment in some area of our life? And parts of ourselves that we reject. So if it's there, there's a part of us, even if it's not a daily thing, but often it's a daily thing, that we're focusing on, or our unconscious is focusing on. And we remember we always get more of what we focus on. So know that could be it. And because I'm not saying we're going to get rid of those things within us, because that's not what we're doing here. But we're flipping that around as a blessing, and I'm going to get rid of our judgment on that. So perhaps on your paper you might write what you would release judgment on in yourself, or whatever comes to you. I'm going to take a moment here and let you think about that. So let's just take a moment in a little meditation and in quiet, because it's very personal. And it's such a holy moment, and I love that we wrap up our season with this. So, and just breathe deeply so you have clear access to your soul's words, your soul's message. And just breathe and listen. So today in our annual burning bowl, we have this opportunity to consciously and ritualistically release judgment, or embrace something. And rituals are a symbol of an internal experience. So make this what is for you. Maybe you write a word of blessing for yourself. Wouldn't that be lovely? A word of blessing for yourself, that you might bless someone else, but bless yourself. And so, I'm going to tell you, after you have done this, just come forward when you're ready. And there's a candle here. This flame is going to consume this. And just drop your paper right on the flame. Okay?
Wow.
And just let it be blessed into the universe, let it go. And Reverend Don, would you like to come up? You and Reverend Laura will bless all of this.
What are we doing?
I'll show you. You follow what I do. Just follow what I do.
Well, I'll just try. I don't know.
Okay.
Standing up is what I have a hard time doing.
Me too, that's why I said.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
That's okay, we'll take it. Did you leave it out on the
Our love for life can make us feel like moons and Junes and Ferris wheels. Dizzy dancing way makes you feel as every fairy tale comes real. But this is not just another show where we leave them laughing, then we go. For this is the time we give away our care and lose nothing but our fear of fear, our fear of fear. 'Cause nothing's lost and everything is gained by living and loving every day of the year. Those tears and fears can just melt away, and our schemes can become dreams that we can say. I've looked at life from both sides now, up and down, and still somehow life and love shower upon me like rain, and I don't try to lose or try to gain. And tears or laughter, and through it all I finally discover I know life after all. and so it is.
Yes. And thank you, Reverend Don. And I was really glad to have his voice in our music today because he speaks to your soul, doesn't he? Yeah. So let us close this with an affirmation. And I'll say it and then you can repeat. I open my heart and mind to nourishing my soul.
Open my heart and mind to nourishing my soul.
To give it what it needs for joy.
To give it what it needs for joy.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Well, thank you, Reverend Julie, for an inspiring message to help us to get in touch with that which is truly interior to our lives, bring it forward into joy and to love through accepting everything, whether we think it particularly becoming or not at the moment. At this point in our service, we like to be able to give and receive. We've received a wonderful message from Reverend Julie and some beautiful singing from Reverend Don and his guitar playing. So now let's, at this time, give of our substance, and so we may, at this time, do our offering. Oh, and there's the words that we usually say for this, so let's say them together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate, and so it is.
We usually have music now, but we can sing. I am so
blessed.
I am so
blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Oh, we just take this moment to open our hearts even wider, to receive the gifts of the universe. In this first day of the new year, 2023, we know that the goodness of God is always present, giving, loving, supporting. We just open ourselves to this and share this gift with our beloved chapel, with our community, and with the world, particularly the gift of spiritual insight and spiritual peace. This is the truth. Let us declare it by saying together, and so it is.
And so I would invite practitioner Cheryl to come forward and to send us off with a deep meditation of our soul. Reverend Don, would you like to pray under that?
Oh, certainly.
I'm going to say that.
So I invite you to just turn within one more time and reach into your heart and say thank you. Thank you for perfect imperfection that shows up in each of us, and bless that part of ourselves that is so real, is so genuine. because it is through that part of ourselves that we learn and grow. Who would I be without my story? Who would I be without those parts of myself that reach out for the light, that asks those questions, that is always seeking? Who would I be? So I invite you to go out into this day holding this message in your heart and share with each other, knowing that we are together in this divine thing we call life, this thing we call Spirit's world. We are emanations of that God spark, made of that God stuff. So I invite you one more time to affirm, and so it is.
And so thank you for being here, and just go forward into this year with a blessed, blessed year.
One brief announcement, there's a card for Gail on the table as you go out, if you'd like to look for it, right on the corner. And there's a card for Donna, and I'm not sure where that one is.
It's on the counter in the library right now.
All right. And if you don't sign it up there, we'll bring them down to be signed also. Blessings. Let us go in peace and love.
And birthday
Oh,
song.
yeah, that's right. We have a birthday cake. Thanks to Shannon. Thank you, dear.
So we want to sing the peace song.
You want to sing the piece?
Yeah, we
Well,
sure
we're going to
do.
do that. Okay.
Start here out by the shop. That's right. That's right. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Welcome to show knowledge of your divine goodness.
Yeah,